And if you listen to the show regularly, you'll know both of these guys. So a friend of mine, Carmine Sabia, who is a very popular conservative pundit, we were speaking the other day, and he said, boy, I'd really like to debate that Joe Walsh. Carmine is a staunch Donald Trump supporter. And then on the other side of things is somebody that's been doing my show for years, who I also have a ton of respect for. He used to be a Donald Trump supporter, and now he is obviously against Donald Trump and will be voting for Kamala Harris, also part of the Republicans for Harris. Of course, we're talking about former presidential candidate, former Congressman Joe Walsh. Gentlemen, I appreciate you both joining us. Joe, thank you for agreeing to do this. Thank you so much for being here, guys.
Happy to be here.
Hi, good to be with you. Carmine, how are you, my friend?
Good to see you, Joe. And for the people watching, I'm friends with both of these guys. It's all good, but we're going to fight today.
All right. Well, we'll verbally fight. Let's get it on. I want to start. Let me start with you, Carmine. What do you make of Donald Trump's comments yesterday where he gives this award to a large donor, and then he makes these comments, and in the comments saying that this could be just as good, if not better, than the awards we give these members of our military because they're either dead or wounded? How do you defend that statement?
Sure. So taken on its face, it's an indefensible statement, right? Taken on its face. But I believe, and a lot of veterans I've spoken to believe, that what he was trying to say was that nobody wants that award. You don't want to be dead. You don't want to be riddled with bullets to get that award. It's much better to get an award if you're not dead or riddled with bullets. So I think what he was trying to say is it's not an award you want to get. Not that this award is particularly better or less than the other award. And I disagree with him on the prestige of the award.
Right.
I think
Joe, what do you say to that?
And by the way, this is one of the reasons I respect Carmine, because he's a straight shooter. It was a horrible, ugly, despicable thing to say. Carmine acknowledges that. It doesn't come out of nowhere, though. Trump has a history, right, of hating on our troops. And that's what think about what he said. A woman who gave a crap load of money to him and Republican candidates is like more honorable than those men in uniform who made the ultimate sacrifice or risked making the ultimate sacrifice on the battlefield. It's just further evidence that this guy hates our troops. And if the best you can say is he just kind of really didn't understand what he was saying, he's not fit to be commander in chief.
I disagree that he doesn't respect the troops, that he doesn't admire the troops. I think he does. I think, I've never heard him out of his mouth say anything disrespectful to the troops. John McCain aside, and my issues with that are well documented. I'm a John McCain fan all the way. Love Meghan, good family. But that being said, I don't take General Milley's word for it. You know that. I don't. I think General Milley has his own personal grudges with Trump. I don't think Trump understands military service. It's not really a tradition in his family. And I think he sometimes just speaks off the cuff. And like I told you the other day, not defending it, Trump likes to aggrandize. Okay, so he gave this medal, and this medal is great because I gave it, kind of thing, right? And so I think that he could come off maybe, if you hear him out of context, it comes off as something it's not. But like I said, I believe that he does care about the troops. I believe he loves this country. I don't see any other reason to go through all this stuff that he's had to go through.
Joe, let me ask you. Let me go to Joe now.
Just like he clearly doesn't understand what the Congressional Medal of Honor is. He doesn't. You can't even halfway think that Presidential Medal of Freedom is even close. I mean, Tiger Woods got the damn Presidential Medal of Freedom.
Yeah, no, it's
Donald
not.
Trump clearly does not understand what the highest medal that we give our military men and women is. He doesn't understand it, or he doesn't give a damn about it. Period.
I think he doesn't understand it. I'll be honest about that. I think he doesn't understand it, but I don't think that's a prerequisite for leading the free world. Here's my issues.
Good, and I appreciate that about Carmine. Thank you.
Thank you. But here's my issues, Joe. And may I ask a question, and then he can ask a question to me?
Sure,
okay.
Sure.
So, Joe, my question is this. And I like to troll your Twitter page. You don't respond and fight with me anymore, which I liked when you did that. But I like to troll your Twitter page and get a response from you when I can. Here's my question, though, man. I understand you don't like Donald Trump. I get that. I get he gets under your skin. You are a supporter. You didn't like. I liked what I saw. Now, I was the opposite. I was not a supporter and became a supporter. So I'm the opposite. In 2015, I wanted anybody else but him, right? And then I saw him govern, and I'm like, hey, this is good. I got more money in my pocket. Things are looking good. Making a nice living. Things are great, right? My question to you, Joe, you and I believe, share the same values on economics, military, foreign affairs. Can you point to one policy of Kamala Harris that you're like, that's the one, I support that? Because I saw your comments on basically this communist economic policy she's rolling out. And I mean, is in other words, I guess what I'm trying to say is this guy being a guy you hate more important than this woman implementing every single policy you possibly could hate?
Yeah, Carmine, I appreciate the question, my friend. And I get this question from hundreds of my former supporters every day. And the simple answer is it's not about hating Trump. Like I believe, Carmine, and you disagree with me, I get it. I believe he is an existential threat to our democracy, period. I believe that. It's not about my hate for him. I think he's really bad for the country. And so because I feel that way, again, this year, I'm going to have to vote for a presidential candidate with whom I disagree with on the vast majority of policy, just like I did with Biden in 2020. No doubt.
Fair enough. And again, yeah, I would disagree. I mean, if I believe this woman really wants to usher in communism. I mean, her policies scream communism. You know, and communism's always presented with a pretty bow, right? Let's get those rich guys because, 80% of people are poor. Let's get those rich guys. And everybody's like, yeah, let's get those rich guys. And then the bread lines start, right? So then my other question to you is, you have built an audience, right? And I know you didn't care. You didn't care when you put your career on the line to go against Trump. And I remember those days. You didn't have an audience. You didn't have a bunch of anti-Trump followers, right? So you were like, your audience actually fell because you went against Trump. And so what I'm saying is, what do you do now? Let's say Trump's eventually going to be gone, right? And your whole audience is built now of people that hate Trump and really hate Republicans. What happens when Trump's gone?
Carmine, I don't care. Maybe this is why I'm a lousy marketer. I mean it. I don't care. I say what I believe. I try to say what I believe every day. I did that on the radio. I did that as a member of Congress. I did that as a candidate. I do that when I go on TV. I do that on Twitter. I just try to say what I believe is right and wrong. I don't give a damn what career move I'm making. I don't give a damn where I am in a year or two or three. I don't think that way. I think I know, Carmine, I know there are guys on all sides who think, if I take this stance, I'm going to start saying this because it's going to help my career or whatever. I don't think that way. I love this country. I think he's a threat to the country. So I'm going to do all I can to stop him, even if it makes me poor and penniless.
Yeah, Joe, I want to ask Joe quickly about this. Joe, as we know, and I think even Carmine would probably agree, Joe, how important this is. The fact that if Donald Trump loses in November, under no circumstance will he admit that he lost. He will never admit that he lost the 2020 election. You talk about this all the time, the threat to democracy. Can you explain to Carmine why this is so important to people like you and myself?
I'm asked every day, Joe, what do you mean by a threat to democracy? And this is always the first example I give. Like elections are like the heartbeat of our democracy. Every 2 years, we all make a deal. And every candidate makes a deal. We're going to give our best and we're going to try our hardest to win. But every 2 years, the people speak and we all respect what the people say. We accept the results. We peacefully transfer power.
Right.
Donald Trump won't do that. He didn't do it in 20. He did a lot worse. He tried to overthrow the result. And there's no way on God's green earth he will ever accept the election result this year. Man, that's scary stuff. And that is a direct attack on our democratic process. That alone is why I would never vote for him. If you're not American enough to concede and accept the results, you can't be in office. You shouldn't be.
Carmine, why doesn't that bother you as much as it bothers Joe and myself?
I think he'll accept the results, but they could win.
But
No, if he loses, Carmine.
If he loses, look, I'm not going to sit here and BS. No, I don't think he'll accept the results if he loses.
Is that kind of like, is that a big deal to you?
He's got a huge ego. I no doubt about that. The man has a huge ego. Is it a big deal for me? I don't like it. I mean, you can go read my tweets from. I just read one the other day because somebody pointed out to me when he didn't go to the inauguration, and I tweeted to him. I thought, I mean, not that he's going to listen to me, but it's like I thought that was wrong because a bedrock of our democracy and a bedrock of our republic is the peaceful transfer of power. It's very important. Even if you played your play, Al Gore felt like he was slighted, but.
And even Al Gore conceded, and even Hillary conceded. And I've been a candidate, and I've won and I've lost. The entire system depends upon the person who lost saying, "Damn it, it happened. The people spoke. I accept it." And if losing candidates don't say that, the system comes undone. And we're seeing that because his supporters don't accept results now. And now we got guys out in the states who may not certify the results. This is really scary stuff.
Here's my problem with that. Hillary conceded, but then Hillary and her Democrat friends spent the next 4 years literally using the words illegitimate president about Donald Trump. So you could concede and then call him illegitimate. I believe Karine Jean-Pierre said in one of her tweets that he stole it. And then, you have Stacey Abrams didn't concede. Stacey Abrams contended. So it's not just a Trump thing.
No, but my friend, to be technical, and I love you like a brother, you're my Irish brother. It is a technical thing, only in this regard. He's the only sitting president in American history who lost an election and did not concede and did not participate in the peaceful transfer of power. Look, all candidates have supporters who will never accept the results. Big deal. That's always been the case. I'm talking about the candidates, the men and women in the arena who make a deal. I'm going to run, put it all on the line, and I'm going to live according to what the people say. It's incumbent upon the candidates to accept that result.
I agree.
And he's the only one who didn't.
I agree. He should have accepted it, even though I have tremendous issues with the 2020 election. I don't believe it's stolen. I'm on record saying I do not believe it was stolen. I believe there was a liberal use of usurping the state legislatures to create massive mail-in ballot and drop-off boxes. I'm against, and I'll always be against, starting election voting in September. How really early of an advance do you need to vote? I mean,
and by the way, Brian, Carmine makes a really good point. And this is, again, what I appreciate about Carmine. If Trump had begun to say that in 2020, look, because of COVID, we've got states doing different things and all these automatic ballots being mailed. Like, come on, guys. Like, if Trump had talked like that in 20, but no, instead he said fraud, stolen, fraud, stolen.
Still does. Still does. And he references.
I believe the votes were real. There were real votes cast by real people. You're going to have some stragglers that there's going to be some fake votes, right? Some illegal votes in every election for all time, right?
Yeah.
You can't stop every human being but I don't think anything discernible that changed the course of the election. I think that the results are the results. I just don't like how they got to the results.
Yeah. Joe, let me ask this to Joe, and then Carmine, I want to get your thoughts on this. Joe, does it concern you? I imagine it does. Does it concern me if Donald Trump does win? The people, the kinds of people he's going to have around him, the Sebastian Gorkas, the Stephen Millers, and if Kamala wins, I believe she's going to have some very competent, educated, and normal human beings working with her. I just feel like a Trump administration would be even 10 times more crazy than what we saw in 2016.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a real hard time having good people with him if Trump wins again. And look, I'm not an establishment guy. Kamala Harris will have good, competent people, but there'll be left of center people who I disagree with. but they'll be kind of within the 40-yard lines. I'm not a big fan of the establishment. This is the whole thing with Trump. Like, I think our system needed disruption. I think Carmine and I probably agree to that. It's just he's horrible and he's evil. And to your point, Brian, he's already signaled to us that if he wins, he's going to feel like he's got no effing restraints on him. And he's saying this, and that's un-American. That's really scary stuff.
Carmine, what do you say to that?
Sure. I think, first of all, I think he'll leave office after his 4 years are done. I don't think he's going to be like, I'm going to, he left, right? At the end of 2020, he left. He didn't want to leave, but he left. So he left, and he'll leave again.
Carmine sounds like my friend and former colleague, Mick Mulvaney, who wrote an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal a week or two before the 2020 election entitled, "Oh, don't worry, Donald Trump will peacefully accept the results of the election." Who knows, man, what Trump will try to do.
Yeah, I think, I do think he'll have competent people around him, because I'll tell you why. No matter what people say, people in DC, they are, I don't want to say anything to get me in trouble, but they're like magnets to those jobs, right? I mean, anybody could be president. They are magnets to those jobs. They want that closeness to power. And I think you'll get good people. I think Trump will hire good people. I pray he hires better people than I think he had last time. Listen, for any president, you have to hire people that are on board with your agenda. When the people you hire are behind your back trying to undermine your agenda, this is a bad thing. Yeah. And there was too many establishment people in the first administration. Mm-hmm. I think you need to have people that are competent, good at their jobs, but believe in the same vision that he believes in. Right. And I believe in a more nationalist vision. I don't believe in an isolationist vision. I think that's dangerous to our national security. I think all three of us are in agreement here.
Carmine, Brian, here's one policy difference you asked me, Carmine. If Kamala Harris wins, she'll support Ukraine and Zelensky. If Trump wins, he'll support Putin. I think that's a clear difference.
I don't think he'll support Putin. I think he'll support ending this war, this forever war that is just funneling money to the military-industrial complex and costing hundreds of thousands of lives of Ukrainians and Russians, when there is somewhere you can meet in the middle on here. This is not like Israel. This is not the same situation as Israel, when the surrounding countries are like, their starting point is, we want all the Jews dead. You can't negotiate from that position. But I think you can negotiate a peace here with Putin and with Zelensky that I believe that the military-industrial complex does not want to see happen. They don't care how many hundreds of thousands of people are dead, as long as you're pumping money back in to make more missiles, more bullets, more jets. So I think that we've gone more crazy over there, and we're dancing on our toes on the line of World War III there.
This is, and again, just one real quick point, Brian. This war isn't being driven by us. These are the Ukrainian people who for 3 years have been defending the sovereignty of their land. They're going to end this war when they get their country back.
But I think, it's not as simple as that over there with Ukraine, right?
Carmine, it's not our fight. It's not.
No, it's not. No, if we backed out of it, right, it'd be over. This
is their country that was invaded. They will decide when they end this war.
But they're using our checkbook to do it, Joe.
No. You know what? They're using their checkbook. They're using France's checkbook. They're using NATO's checkbook. They're using the checkbook of the free Western world, which is a damn good thing, standing up to an evil dictator. Carmine, come on.
I'm not going to defend Vladimir Putin here, but you have to understand that
Trump will. We'll let Trump do that.
You have these sections, right, that are Russian speaking, that are traditionally, these were Russian. It's a very convoluted place over there. There's no
invade Ukraine. Carmine, did Putin invade Ukraine? Yes or no?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you. Stop.
But it's not that simple.
Yeah, it is.
It's not that simple, because you have sections of Ukraine that want to be part of Russia.
You're losing the audience. I'm losing the audience. He invaded a sovereign country. End of story.
Correct. And Donald Trump refuses to call out Vladimir Putin, where Joe Biden has called him an evil dictator and among other things. Joe, I want to give you this opportunity to talk to Carmine and ask him some things, but I guess I would say this. You talk to all sorts of different Donald Trump supporters. Some are crazy lunatic conspiracy theorists. We all both know that Carmine's a good dude. He's an intelligent guy, but he's supporting Donald Trump no matter what. So in regards to that, what would you say or ask Carmine of his support for Donald Trump?
No, and Carmine and I have talked about this a little bit, and everybody listening to us needs to understand Carmine's a rock solid conservative. I've never and never will question his principles. You can be a rock solid conservative and still support Trump. You can be a rock solid conservative and oppose him. I guess that's the point I'd make to both he and I. I disagree with Carmine's support of Trump, but I don't call into question his motives. He's a conservative. He's made a different decision than I have. What I hear from my former supporters all the time, that if you did what I did as a conservative opposing Trump, somehow you sold out and you abandoned your principles. Carmine, I don't think you believe that about me, do you?
No, but I do say it to you sometimes on Twitter to try and get you to argue with me.
I have thousands of people fire at me every day.
I try, and Brian knows I love to troll and start the fight, right? But no.
But you acknowledge that you can be a conservative on either side of this Trump question, right?
Meghan McCain is a friend, and I love her, and she's a hardcore conservative. She hasn't sold out any of her values, and she, and I put you and Meghan in a certain camp, and I put Anna Navarro and some others in a different camp. Whereas I don't have Joe Walsh and Meghan McCain coming out going, yay, abortion in the 9th month, and let's get behind all these liberal policies. You get Anna Navarro, and she goes on The View, and I'm a Republican. Now here's all the Democrat positions I support.
She doesn't but Carmine, to be fair, she doesn't celebrate abortion. She celebrates the woman's right to choose, which to me are different things.
Let's take abortion out of it even for a second. She and others like her, Bill Kristol, suddenly they have very liberal positions. They support very Democrat liberal ideas. And to me, that's grifting.
Well,
whereas Joe and Meghan, who are still conservatives, and like me, I piss off, I don't know if I could say that here, but I anger Trump supporters sometimes when I'm like, yo, he should have done that. Like, I just heard the metal comment, literally, because I've been working all day. I just heard it 5 minutes before I came on the show. And I said to my friends, I'm sitting there, we're working, and I said, it's indefensible. And every one of them were like, that's indefensible. We agreed with it, right? It's indefensible.
It's like I'm Republicans for Harris. I'm part of a group called Republicans for Harris. You look at what Kamala Harris proposed today, these price controls for groceries. A stupid, terrible policy. Many Republicans for Harris might applaud that policy. Many will try to ignore that she put forward this policy. Or some Republicans for Harris, like me, will say, bad idea, terrible policy, but I'm still supporting her because Donald Trump is he's a lawless, un-American psychopath. So it's not about policy to me.
That's what I wanted to
bigger threat here.
That's what I wanted to understand with you, because I'm saying she's going against everything you believe in, and you're still going to cast a vote for her. And that's a bridge I can't cross. That's a bridge.
Is she really? But hold on. Is she really going against everything Joe Biden believes in? For example, giving
not Joe Biden.
Treating the LGBTQ community with respect, not attacking transgenders, the top 1%, the biggest tax breaks for the rich under Donald Trump. Is she really going after all of Joe Walsh's principles when she talks about equality? When she talks about what do you mean?
No,
I don't understand.
Not on equality. Not on equality. But I haven't seen Trump come out and say anything negative about let's put LGBTQ people in camps or something. The far right is against gay marriage. They're against the far right. You talk about Donald Trump or the far right. It's two different things.
Okay, well, a lot of the people on the far right are going to be voting for Donald Trump,
and a lot of people in the KKK are going to vote for somebody else. A lot of people in the KKK are going to be voting for Donald Trump. Guys like David Duke.
So let's
So
be factually accurate with that.
if a serial killer, we don't know he's a serial killer yet. He still has the right to vote. Votes for Kamala Harris. 10 years from now, we find out that serial killer voted for Kamala Harris. Does Kamala Harris support serial killing? You want to attribute so many people who are voting for Trump and saying, well,
if you could find me one prominent racist bigot that is going to be voting for Harris, you let me know. I've been to both.
Voted for Biden.
I've been to both rallies, my friend. I've been to Trump rally in the last 2 months. I've been to a Harris rally. They're completely different. 99.9.
That doesn't matter. I'm worried about what the candidate said. If Trump came out tomorrow attacking black people, attacking the LGBT community, that would be a line in the sand I couldn't cross.
He does. Okay, let's talk about that. Joe, what do you Donald Trump going after Harris's blackness, right? He continues to call her stupid. I mean,
she is stupid.
Oh, come on, Carmine.
Joe, you think this is an intelligent woman?
Stop, my friend, because you're better than that. That's something Seb Gorka or some idiot would say. You're not an idiot.
But she's not right.
Carmine, let me just ask a simple question. Do you know her? Because I don't.
No, but I've heard her speak.
Okay, Carmine, you've heard Donald Trump speak. Is he bright? Come on now. That's when we get to that level of discourse, like Kamala Harris is dumb. Like, you don't know her. I don't know her. There's no way she's not a fairly intelligent woman. Disagree all you want with her policies. But we can't go down that road.
But I think her policies are dumb and she's a bad public speaker.
Okay, hold on. That's different. You may think her policies are dumb, but to call that woman dumb, uneducated, stupid, that's silly, ugly, divisive stuff that Trump engages in. You're better than that.
But what I worry about, Joe, is that she's a puppet. She's a marionette, right? Because here's Kamala Harris. Here's all my positions I had in 2019. And now here I are in 2024, and I don't believe any of these things anymore.
Oh,
I have
brother,
changed all my
brother. Hey, then get in line, right? Get in line, because Donald Trump was a pro-choice Democrat not so long ago. What's his name? J.D. Vance thought Trump was Hitler 3 or 4 years ago. Come on now. All politicians do that. Moderate to try to get elected.
But J.D. Vance thinking something and then saying, yeah, but I saw him govern, and I'm on board with that now, and I changed my mind.
That's one way to explain it. Yeah.
Kamala Harris hasn't given a reason why her positions have suddenly changed. Suddenly, she's not for Medicare for all. Suddenly, she's not for an open border. Suddenly, she's all these changes now that she's made. She's suddenly not for packing the Supreme Court.
And to be fair, I've been on record saying, who are you? Tell us where you stand. There are a lot of never Trumpers who are applauding her changes because she's moving toward the middle. I want to find out how real and sincere these are. I kind of believe that Kamala Harris has grown and has kind of grown into herself. And I think she's much more in command as a candidate now than she was 4 years ago. But I was always a politician who didn't change. So I'm always suspect of politicians who change, but I'm going to give her a break. But again, last point, it's not about policy to me. It's about stopping that man.
That's the difference. And so Kamala Harris has grown as a candidate only because she's starting on third base now. And I think if you had an open Democrat primary, Gavin Newsom wins it or Gretchen Whitmer wins it, not Kamala Harris. I think.
I don't know about that, because remember, Carmine, it was the Biden-Harris re-election campaign. From the start, she's the VP. She's the natural heir. I mean, that made all the sense in the world transitioning to her, I think, when Biden decided.
Well, you didn't have time. You didn't have time for a primary. You couldn't do a 5-boost primary.
But also give her some credit. She's run a hell of a campaign for 3 or 4 weeks, hasn't she?
Absolutely.
Yes.
I do give her credit.
I want to give you guys a last word chance here. Both of you have huge social media followings. A lot of people care. I'm one of them. What both of you have to say. The political climate that we're in right now, we're just a few months out from what could be the largest voter turnout election in American history. Carmine, I'll start with you now. What do you make of where we're at right now? Where do you see this thing going? Who's going to win?
Make a prediction. Okay. I see in the polls today that the Kamala momentum is coming down a little bit, and Trump's coming back up. She'll get a bump in the polls next week with the DNC. You're not going to really know where things are, I think, until about 2 to 3 weeks into September. I'm still going to predict Donald Trump victory. I believe that, and I would disagree with my friend Joe, where I think that Kamala Harris's policies are a much bigger threat to the republic than whatever Trump is, right? And I think the only thing I would say that I think all three of us could probably agree on here is I have deep concerns about November, and whoever wins, the civil unrest that could happen in this country, one way or the other. We are at a tipping point, I think, not seen since the days of Abraham Lincoln in this country, and it concerns me. And I see people talk about civil war and stuff like that so willy-nilly and just fling those words around, not knowing how serious and devastating it could be. So I would say to people that whoever wins, accept it, move on with your life. You can vote again in 4 years.
I think it's going to be really close. I don't know who's going to win. I think it's going to be super, super close.
Very.
I know this, no matter who wins, after this election, the country's going to be 100 times more divided, exhausted. And like Carmine, I worry about where this thing is heading. And I would just close, Brian, with this. One of these two candidates, Kamala Harris, if she loses, she will concede. She will accept the will of the people. She'll congratulate Donald Trump, and she will participate in the peaceful transfer of power. The other candidate won't do any of that. That's
very telling.
That's the threat.
Very, very telling. Well, I respect both of you very, very much, and this has been a great conversation, and hopefully maybe we can do it again sometime.
Hey,
Good.
Brian, compliments to you for having this kind of show, brother.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate that.
Brian.
Compliments to both of you, and Joe, you agreeing to do this, and I'd love to do it again down the road.
Hey, Carmine,
Absolutely. Yep. Yes, Joe.
shut up, you big jerk.
I almost gave you the finger.
Thanks,
I think
guys.
you can do that. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Carmine. Love you guys. Have a great
Love you
week.
guys. Take care.
Appreciate both of you guys really much. Two really good people who disagree on a number of different issues, but at the same time,